So my name is Melissa Sandifer. I'll give you a little background about how I ended up where I am and kind of a little bit about my family. Yes. So I guess first thing is I've been married for 23 years to my high school sweetheart, and we have two boys, soon to be 17, and then one is just turned 19. I've homeschooled them for about 8 years. So through that, I began my journey and career as a high school, middle school English teacher. Started with that, then stayed at home with my boys, homeschooled them. They went to regular school for a bit, and then I homeschooled for a bit. So through that, I had a little bit of a health crisis, I guess, in the middle of being a mom and being a stay-at-home mom who homeschooled her boys, wanting to be present, wanting to do that well and feel well in my body. So it led me kind of on my own healing journey. So 12 years ago, I got my holistic health coaching certificate. That was just kind of to help me and my family learn more about staying well and healthy. And so I learned a lot, applied that in, and then about 2 years later, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. So that led me into deeper study and deeper understanding of the body and how to live free with it, because I think it's important that we feel like we can live life with freedom and not restriction, because like living life should be fun, not restrictive and like feel like you're captive and you can't do anything. So through that process, fast forward a bit, I ended up finding regenerative health. I went through my own struggles with like holistic and functional medicine, that it would just help for a bit, but then I would feel bad again. So it was this struggle like of, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be something that, first of all, is cost effective, because I was, insurance doesn't cover the holistic part of your health. And it was becoming a super expense on our budget. So I thought there's got to be something that's cost effective and simple and sustainable. So those were kind of my searching out like main points that I was looking for. Regenerative health met all of those for me. It was simple, so simple to the fact that I would be like, this is all that I need to do. Like, this is really it. Like, there's got to be more, because out in the world, it feels like it should be hard and it should be a lot to do. It's not. So that took me a bit to have a mind shift in my perspective. But I found that the consistent, slow process of these simple steps were sustainable and affordable. So yes, we're going to be faced with things, of course, because we're aging. We can never be on the pursuit to stop aging, because that's not going to happen. We just have to know how to move with that and how to listen to our bodies. So what regenerative health is we've got our sheet here, and it kind of talks about it differs from holistic health because I feel that it gives us a joint relationship where it's practitioner and colleague. It's not really like a patient per se. You guys will know your bodies way better than anyone else can. So it's that kind of joint of, I have some knowledge of how the body works and how it responds to things, but you also have your own unique design and how your body responds to different things. But also you have what your body's giving off as symptoms that are not scary, but more of your body saying, hey, this is where I need some help. And then I come alongside you and go, hey, this is what really needs help in your body, because you'll give me these symptoms. You may not necessarily know exactly where it's deeply connected or rooted in your body, but I have a general idea when we talk about things together. So I love doing it because, first of all, I'm super passionate about helping people become healthy and stay healthy, but because I love like joining with people in a team effort. So it's super cool. It's super fun. It gives me like all kinds of experiences with people because everybody's uniquely designed. So I love that part of it, but it also equips you guys to be more connected to your body. It allows you to support your body instead of suppress symptoms, because when we end up suppressing symptoms, they'll just either get shoved down and come back somewhere else, or they'll get shoved down and come back as even something more severe. So it allows us to support your body through things. And when you support your body, then it's given the ability to start restoring in places that it needs to restore. So I love that part of regenerative health. And then 2, where regenerative health comes in is we heal at the cellular level. So we're made up of trillions of cells. Our tissues and our organs are made up of all kinds of cells. They come together to make those tissues and organs. If we forget to heal at the cellular level and just work on specifically like a symptom, then the symptom might go away for a bit. But if we don't allow the cells what they need to regenerate, then that symptom's just going to come back again. So we kind of attack cellular health at the same time while we work on strengthening different organs, which would come up within our discussions together in our sessions. And then that allows us to use whole food supplements to restore those things. And so what typically in the world that we see are synthetic vitamins. And wow, it's $1 billion business out there for synthetic vitamins. They can be overwhelming to our already stressed and tired system. The liver, it's like our savior of our body. And so it works on keeping us safe, keeping toxins and things out of our body, and it kind of keeps the system flowing. So if we overwhelm that when it's already overwhelmed with synthetic drugs or synthetic vitamins that it can't really process that well, then we might be wasting money, possibly, and probably wasting our money. And then at the same time, we're not allowing that organ to restore the proper way. It's not going to absorb the things, so it's just going to get rid of a lot of what you're putting into the body. But if we get from whole food sources where our vitamins and our nutrients and our minerals are supposed to come from, the body will recognize it. It won't stress the liver out, and we will actually absorb those things better. So we work with like whole foods that are organically regenerative farmed, and regenerative farming is the way farming should be done. And we've gotten away from that. So that gives the most nutrients to our foods that we can through the soil. And so they grow these products and then they put them into pill forms, into powder forms after they've been harvested ripe, and then they air sun dry those products. So we get the most for the money and we get the most benefit for our bodies. So we use those kind of things along with herbs, and herbs grow in gardens, and usually they grow wildly too. There's some that come out like we probably have seen in the beginning of summer. If you've had dandelions in your yards, or if you see them around town, and the red clovers, those are really beneficial for our bodies. We kind of don't want them in our yards. I know a lot of people get rid of them, but they're super beneficial for our bodies, and they're here to help our organs restore and our cells to regenerate. So typically what we want to do as we age to enjoy life is make sure that we're incorporating those kind of things, getting enough of those kind of things, and supporting our systems as we age. So if you think about your system, it has a whole terrain. So all your cells live in this terrain of your body. And you can compare it to like a fish tank. So you have a fish tank, and if you've ever dealt with one of those, you know that it can become very yucky if you don't keep it clean. So you can imagine the inside of your body where all your cells live also has a terrain the same that you could look in a fish tank. If that's not cleaned out, if that's not giving the proper things into the body, it can cause the cells to get dehydrated. And so if you have ever experienced dehydration, that feeling of like, oh my goodness, I've got to drink water and I can't hardly get enough, your body was dehydrated far before it gave you that cue to drink water. Your body is going to be, the cells in there will be dehydrated far before you'll start getting some symptoms or signs that it's become weakened. So it can be a long time that your cells have been dehydrated before you'll actually realize it. If we know and we're equipped with all this information of like, wow, our cells need all this to stay filled and nourished and hydrated, then we can kind of stay ahead of the game. So if you're trying to do that, the ways that you can do that and clean the terrain in the body are going to be on that chart. And I think everybody should have one of those charts. It's colorful and it kind of highlights what the environment cells need to be nourished and hydrated. So they need to be in an alkaline environment. So if you imagine like what you would clean with, you're going to clean like you think about lemon. Lemon is very cleansing, cleaning. It's going to clean and it smells good too. And so it's going to help the system stay cleaned out and hydrated. That's a lot of time why you'll hear people talk about drinking lemon water. So I know that there are a lot of things out there that become this like hype or this like thing to do. But lemon water is definitely, it's been around for years and it's definitely a super nourishing thing for our cells. Our cells will suck that right in and get hydrated. So if you think about keeping it alkaline, I don't want you to think about that you have to eat all of those things all the time because we really can't sustain that of eating only fruits and vegetables. However, fruits and vegetables are going to be the most hydrating for our bodies. And if you think about where we were created in the garden, everything we need is there. So if you think about that in your mind and just allow that to kind of sink in of, if I focus and live my life about 80-20, 70-30 kind of idea of having most of those, I can support my cells, but I still have that freedom to live my life at the same time. And then work your way kind of maneuvering that rhythm of life, if that makes sense. So I tend to give people this image of if you want to age well, you're doing this life circle anyway. So we're ultimately all working our way to heaven is the idea. And we're all working our way back to the garden. So as we age, if we just allow ourselves that freedom to go back to the garden a little more in our diet, we're going to age well. And there's those protein myths and all of those things that you might hear out there, but it comes down to the science of how our bodies were designed. And they need fruits and vegetables, really, mostly. And as we age, that's what they're going to need more of, because as our systems start to slow down, our digestive system also starts to slow down as we age. Foods that are the easiest to digest are fruits and vegetables. So just if you can keep that in your mind, if you want to enjoy your life and be able to still go out and do things and be active, working your way into the garden a little more is going to be super helpful. But I say that as also enjoy life. So like if you go on vacation, don't try to be perfect, enjoy your vacation and eat all the fun things and don't worry about that. It's about performing the best you can with what you're given, if that makes sense. So cells are going to need mostly those things. And then there's the neutral options that you have that will just keep everything kind of, in the neutral area. But cells and aging are so important to keep the terrain hydrated and cleaned out. So that's the first thing to know. The second thing is your cells only need two things to make energy. And they make ATP in the body, which creates energy for them to regenerate, energy for you to feel good, energy for life in the organs. And that is glucose from fruit and oxygen. And so here's what I love too about regenerative health is it's always simple, like I said, but you can do a lot of things for free. So I'm going to equip you today with lots of free things that you can do that are going to help you. So if you imagine little babies, and some of you might have grandkids that you get to see this all the time, but their little bellies will go up and down when they breathe. And if you watch all of us in here, our bellies hardly move at all. We forget how to deep belly breathe. Our organs in this area need so much oxygen, and our cells down there, they need all this oxygen along with the glucose to make energy. So if we can remember, not all the time breathing through our belly, but if you can remember to set aside time during your day, like when you're sitting there watching TV, when you're fixing dinner, and even, right before you go to bed, taking those deep belly breaths, and even just taking 4 to 5 a day. If that's done consistently, you're getting more oxygen. As we age, we know that we get less and less oxygen just as our body slows down. So if we can counteract that by just doing something for free, why not take advantage, right? So doing those deep belly breaths, and the deep belly breaths, you just want to take these deep breaths that allow the belly to fill first and then fill up the lungs. So you're just having this conscious effort of filling up the belly, filling up the lungs, and then letting it out. That's going to nourish your cells so much, give them what they need to make that, productive energy, and make you feel good. So those are some things that your cells need as you age, that you can do those and age well. So I guess to sum everything before we have some time for questions, but if we eat from the garden, and you guys probably know all these things, but staying active, staying in community is so important to our cells and our minds. I want to talk about that just a little bit more. Her name is Dr. Gladys. And you guys can look at her up if you're on social media. She's super awesome. She is the sweetest. I love her so much. And she talks about in her book the importance of community and aging, and how our cells think and feel what we think and feel. And so it goes down to, I'm sure you've seen the studies done about plants. And when they had two different, they had the plants, they had two different scenarios. So they would play the happy, music over here. They would talk to the plants with loving, words, and they would grow and thrive. And then over here, they would have the plants with like the ugly music and then using the, negative talk, and they wouldn't grow and thrive. So the same thing comes down to the terrain our cells are in, because we have a mind that connects all things together in our body, and so that also connects our cells together. That is where she comes in. She's so inspiring because she talks about how important that is. Being in community nourishes our cells. So there's not just food that nourishes them, there's our thoughts, our thought processes, our experiences that can nourish those cells on such a deep, deep level. So yes, she definitely follow her, read some of her stuff. She is super fun, and to be 103, and she's dealt with cancer in her life. I think she had two bouts she talks about that she dealt with some cancer. But her book is it's awesome. So I would highly recommend it for you guys. But staying in community, definitely important for your cells. Laughing is one of the things that is so important in our life. We have these things called adrenals. You've probably heard of these. So adrenals in our body are what give us the things we need to have proper joint function. So if you have tight joints, if you have aching joints, any kind of itis, like arthritis, that kind of thing, our adrenals help with that. They naturally produce steroids in our body that help protect us. But if they're weak and they're stressed, which stress highly affects our adrenals, then they aren't able to perform as well. So if you think about laughing, they kind of, when you laugh, it can tickle the adrenals. So if you think about nourishing your adrenals in your body, then laughing is such a good thing to do. Laugh as much as you want. There's even this fun thing called laughing yoga. And they do this laughing yoga session, and it's so, if you don't even do it, you can Google it on YouTube and just watch it because it's funny to just watch. So laughing is so important. And also right under your adrenals, so they set right here on your back, right under your adrenals are your kidneys. And those are super important too for filtration in your body. So if you're keeping your adrenals happy and you're tickling them, then your kidneys are going to work as well. Great. So these, again, are all free things that you can do. And who knew we had so many free things? You don't have to go out there and spend tons of money to keep yourself in a good state. And then the other thing, we talked about deep breathing, moving on to morning sunshine. Another free thing. So you may have heard of things called infrared lighting and infrared light therapy. People pay for this. Our sun produces this for the first 2 hours of the morning when it rises. So you can go outside in that first 2 hours, not only get some vitamin D, but get some infrared lighting. Your cells need infrared lighting to regenerate. So who knew you could regenerate your cells? Just go out in the sunshine for about 10 minutes and you've got infrared lighting for free. It's amazing. So then if you're doing all these things, also your lymph system. I'll talk about that for a minute. So our lymph system in our body is our sewer system. So it runs through, it's basically getting rid of all the sewage in your body for you. As we age, our lymph system can get clogged, it can get sluggish. It's also connected to your immune system. So if you're able to keep it healthy and functioning, your immune system will stay good. So your lymph system, if you do some lymph work, it works on pumps. So you even think about a sewer, like it's pumping things out. Your system needs pumping motion. So that means like walking is a good pump for your lymph system to get it activated. Also, you can do things like light massage. So your lymph system runs through your arms up to your collarbone here. So like through the inner arm, and just light. This doesn't even have to be done in a forceful or deep pressure. You can activate your lymph system by just rubbing down your arms to your collarbone, rubbing through here. It also runs down your neck. You can rub down your neck to your collarbone. It runs through your inner legs up to your groin area. So you can even rub through there and stimulate that to activate. And then its circular motion runs through your abdomen. So you can rub, just give your abs some extra love. And also, if you feel congested in your head, you can kind of massage your scalp and pull it down into your collarbone there. It's kind of encouraging your lymph to draw all that like mucus and that stagnation and that congestion out and start flowing into the body. Another fun thing, and I'll demonstrate because people always think it's fun to watch what it does to your body, but if you heel bounce, and you can see where everything's just kind of loose and pumping my system. Just doing that. You can even do that like while you're brushing your teeth in the morning. Just give your lymph system an extra thing. Kind of bounce through and that'll activate things, get it going. But those are free things that you can do and be equipped with to do daily. And if you do these small little things daily, it's going to do like so much for your body. Your body's going to thank you so much. And then the last thing you can do is connect with a regenerative health practitioner. And I'm just right over in Millennial Medical Clinic, right next to the Avalon, Millennial Medical Clinic. And it's really like you're right behind us. I think that's all I wanted to make sure that we talked about. If you have questions, because I know it's a lot of information. And now it's like if there's anything that you thought, I would like to know more about that, or what did she mean by that? My cards are up here, and there's all kinds of pamphlets. If you feel any need to take any of those to read about some of the products, please feel free. And yeah, thank you guys for coming.